Hello everyone. The story I'm going to share today is the bizarre cause and effect. During the Qing Dynasty, a governor of Hunan Province sent a group of entourage officials to deliver 600,000 taels of gold to the capital. Due to heavy rain, they delayed their journey. Dusk arrived, but they couldn't find a motel to stay overnight. When they saw an ancient temple standing in the distance, they decided to stay overnight in the temple. After daybreak, everyone found that the huge amount of gold they guarded all along the way had disappeared. It was completely gone. All of them became terrified and confused. They started to investigate, but no matter how hard they worked searching, there was still no sign of Zed. They had no choice but to go back to report to the governor. The governor thought it was extremely absurd and didn't believe a word of their story. And he planned to deal with it strictly in accordance with the criminal law. But then he thought about it for a while, and because he didn't want any innocent people to be involved, he decided to ask them one at a time. As a result, all answers were the same. At last, he asked all of them to go back to the motel to continue to search, and whoever found the gold would be awarded with atonement. When they arrived once more at the temple, the entourage officials noticed a blind fortune teller working at his booth in front of the temple. The fortune teller's appearance was different, and there was a sign on his booth saying, "I know what's in your mind." They immediately came to him for help by doing fortune telling. The fortune teller said, "You come here to find the gold you lost." They answered, "Yes, you are indeed reading our minds." They then told the fortune teller all about it. The blind fortune teller volunteered to help them, but requested a sedan because he was blind. He also asked them to simply follow his direction quietly without seeing anything. After everything was said, they were on their way. The fortune teller directed the way inside the sedan, and all of them followed his orders, quietly marching forward without a word. They walked for 5 days, and gradually they arrived in a mountainous area. Suddenly, a big city appeared, with houses neatly arranged, and many people walking in the streets. There was busy traffic, and the whole city was lively. Only a few steps after entering the city, the fortune teller yelled, "Stop!" Then he stepped off the sedan and pointed his finger to the south, saying, "Walk to this direction till you see a big gate facing to the west. Then just knock at the gate and ask for the gold you lost." As soon as finished saying this, he promptly left. All the entourage officials arranged the place to stay in the city, and the head of these officials went to knock the gate by himself. But as he approached the gate, a man in Han Dynasty clothing blocked his way. The officer told him why he came there. The man said, "Please stay here for a few days. I will take you to our master when there's a chance." So he asked the officer to follow him to a room and also gave him food and drink. The officer had nothing to do but walk around the house he was staying. He saw a big courtyard, a huge long green grass like a carpet, and pine tree that looked several hundred years old but lush. After passing a few pavilions, he saw a very tall pavilion right at his front. He climbed up the stone steps and saw a few dismembered skins hanging on the walls of the pavilion. Those skins sent out a fishy smell and did not look like animal skins. He became so horrified that he couldn't help shivering. Hurriedly, he put his legs and jumped back to his room. The officer thought a lot about what he had seen, and he thought that he had no hope to escape from death. After a while, however, his thinking changed. He thought that he had never done anything wrong in his life, but that the situation he was facing was a dilemma. Even he could escape, he would return empty-handed. How could he report to the governor? With no way to turn, he would risk his life to stay one more night. The next day, the man in hand clothes hurriedly came and informed him that his master could see him. He was following the man carefully, and soon they arrived. He entered a big hall. There were 2 lines of escorts standing in the 2 sides of the hall. He passed them and entered into another room inside. He saw a king-like man wearing a beaded crown and embroidered clothes. He quickly stepped forward to meet him. The king asked, "Are you the officer from Hunan?" The officer immediately nodded his head. The king continued, "All the gold is here. This is a trivial number. Why is your governor bothering you to be here?" The officer knelt on the floor, said with tears, "The time is due. If I do not bring any gold back, we all will be killed. If I already tell him that I come here to meet you, he will not believe me. How could I talk to the governor?" The king said, "This is easy. I will write a letter to him. I guarantee that you will be safe." Then he sent some escorts to send him on his way. The officer took the letter and came to the city to meet all of the officials. The escorts were all the way with them. They just felt that the way out was totally different. After they came out of the mountain, the escorts were all gone in no time. 3 weeks later, they returned to Hunan. They told the governor all they had encountered. But the more he listened, the more he felt it was slapstick. He thought this time was even more ridiculous than the time he lost the gold. He got so angry that he gave an order to kill all of them. But at a critical moment, the officer presented the letter to him. Before the governor even finished reading the letter, his face had already turned pale. He immediately sent order to release all of the officials. What did the king say in the letter? Everyone wanted to know until one day, the governor died inexplicably in his office. Officials saw the letter when they came to the office. The letter said, "Ever since you became the governor, you never stopped asking for bribes from your people. You secretly took countless quantities of government gold and silver into your own pocket. The 600,000 taels of gold you lost earlier are indeed here, and I already put them into the treasury. The officials are not guilty, and they should not be condemned." From then on, this bizarre cause and effect relationship between gains and losses began to become widely known. Thank you very much for listening to the story. More touching stories will be ready for you if you just subscribe it. Thank you again.